Welcome to Wednesday Fun Day. I'm Miss Samantha, and the last couple of weeks we've been talking about a guy named Saul. Do you remember him? He didn't like Jesus, didn't like his followers, and then all of a sudden, a bright light, and he loved Jesus and gave his life to him forever. Well, today we're going to switch people and talk about Peter. Do you remember him? He was one of Jesus' friends when Jesus was on the earth, and Peter got the power of the Holy Spirit on the day the Holy Spirit came, remember? With the tongues of fire on their heads, and Peter was telling everyone he saw about Jesus and Jesus' power that he gives you. Well, we're going to learn a story about a lady named Dorcas. Can you guys say Dorcas? Dorcas, yes. She had another name too, I think it was Tabitha, but we're gonna call her Dorcas. So God brings Dorcas to life after Peter prays. If he has to bring her to life, that means she died. Let's see what happened. This story is found in the book of Acts, chapter 9, verses 32 to 43. Dorcas loved to help people. She made clothes for others and always helped the poor. She always tried to do good things. All the people in her town really loved her. But Dorcas got very sick, so sick that she died. Her friends were so sad. Some of Dorcas's friends heard that Peter, Jesus' friend, was in a nearby town. They went to see Peter and asked him to come to see Dorcas. Peter came. Dorcas's friends took him into the room where her body was, and Peter told everyone to leave. Peter got down on his knees and he prayed. Then Peter looked at Dorcas and said, "Dorcas, get up." She opened her eyes and sat up. Peter helped her get up and led her downstairs to where her friends were waiting. She was alive. Many people in Dorcas's town believed in Jesus because God made Dorcas alive again. Wow, what a great story. We saw Jesus do a bunch of miracles like this when he was alive before he went to the cross, and now his friends with the power of the Holy Spirit can do the same thing. And because of what Peter did with Dorcas through the Holy Spirit, people came to know Jesus. They became Christians. So our verse is found in the book of Acts, chapter 9, verse 40. It says, "But Peter kneeled down and prayed. He said, 'Dorcas, get up.' She opened her eyes and sat up." All right, let's try that together. Ready? Acts 9, verse 40. "But Peter kneeled down and prayed. He said, 'Dorcas, get up.' She opened her eyes and sat up." Very good. Well, let's go see what our new friends thought of this story. Let's go. Welcome back, Mrs. Bacon, Corky. Hi, Mr. Rico.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
I'm good.
Good. So the last couple weeks we were learning about a guy. What was his name again?
Saul.
Saul. And this week we learned about a lady named
Dorcas.
Dorcas. So who likes to help people?
I do.
I love trying to be helpful. How do you like to help people, Mrs. Bacon?
I like help cooking the bacon.
Yes. How do you like to cook your bacon?
Well, honey bacon. And you put more honey in it with brown sugar.
Oh.
And you cut it up into bits. And you serve it with either collard greens or green beans.
She's a
Or mashed
professional.
potatoes.
We're going to go over for dinner. What about you, Mr. Rico? What do you like to do to be helpful?
I like to help people feel better.
Oh, that's so nice. Well, the lady in our story, Dorcas, liked to help people by making clothes. Do you guys know how to sew?
No.
No clue.
I took a class once. It didn't last very long. But this lady was so good. She would make a bunch of clothes, and people would come from all over. She would give it away to people who didn't have any. She would give it to all the poor, and so everyone loved her. She was well known in the town, and everyone knew that she had a good heart and loved God. Well, what happened, you guys?
She was very sick and died.
That's so sad. But remember, we learned about Peter a few weeks ago when Jesus was still alive before he died on the cross. He was doing miracles, going places with his friends. Peter was one of those guys. In fact, Peter was so close to Jesus, they're almost like best friends. But Peter also made some mistakes, and at one point he said he didn't know who Jesus was. That's so sad. But Jesus loved Peter so much. He talked to him, forgave him, and he told Peter to still tell people about Jesus. So Peter had so much power from the Holy Spirit. Do you remember that guy, the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
We learned that he gave us power and boldness, well, because of the power of the Holy Spirit. Through Jesus, Peter was able to raise Dorcas from the dead. This is the first story that I remember that someone was raised from the dead since Jesus went back to heaven. So that's pretty cool.
Super cool.
So just like when Jesus was on earth and he did a bunch of miracles by feeding thousands of people with a few loaves of bread, he would touch people and they would get better. So many cool things. When he did those things, they believed in Jesus because he was God. And when Peter did this amazing miracle through the power of the Holy Spirit, a bunch of people also believed in God. And they worshiped Jesus together, just because of Dorcas and her loving heart for others, and Peter and the power of the Holy Spirit. So I love that story. It's so powerful, right?
Yeah.
So we can learn that we can be kind to others, help them in any way we can, and even if something bad happens, people will remember our kind hearts, and that's a way that they can come to know Jesus. So this is the story that our friends colored. Who did this one? Was it you, Mrs. Bacon?
Yes.
God brings Dorcas to life again after Peter prays. Well, thanks for coming to this week's H&M Storytime. We will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.